Hey, what's good, what's good, what's good? Welcome to Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast presented by DJ City and Beat Source. I'm one of your hosts, DJ Crooked. We got DJ Never here.
Yo, what up?
We got DJ D Miles.
What up, what up?
We have Jamie the Great.
Yeah.
And this is the special LA edition of the R.O.A.D podcast. We've invaded the Beat Source offices. We're here in LA, and we have a special guest. I got a lot of history with this DJ. I have a long history. We came up in New York together. And she's been in LA. She's been doing a lot of big Hollywood things with a lot of celebrities. She's, you know, superstar DJ. You know, she's broken all barriers. She's killed the game.
She's taking over.
But I knew her.
Are you Harriet Tubman?
No.
Tubbing me?
She's killed the game. But I knew her when she was this young, sweet, innocent person in nightlife. And, you know, we came up in New York together, and I'm so happy I have her here. I've been wanting her on the podcast for a minute. We have DJ Kiss in the building.
Hey, y'all.
Kiss. See, I didn't know you as Kiss.
Did I meet you at PM?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
See, she doesn't even remember.
Wait a minute. No.
See?
Because I just always associate you with scam artists. But, oh, my God, we go back further than scam artists.
We go back further than scam artists.
Yo, you just blew my mind.
You know what you remember? See?
Damn.
See,
He talks about it all the time.
I do talk about it.
yo, I knew
I bring it up. I bring it up at least once a week.
It was like,
Crooked, you just
You know who you are on my phone. You know who you are on my phone.
Jakissa.
Jakissa Taylor.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
he speaks to you. He speaks about you like you're LeBron. He's like, yo, I seen LeBron at the park before
her
LeBron was
reaction-
LeBron.
That's so
Good.
She remembers everything by her reaction.
Yeah.
100%. But like, for some reason, I'm just like scam. But like, no, we go back to PM.
We
That's
go
when
back
I've
to
stepped
PM.
foot into nightlife. Period.
Yeah. To explain Club PM, right? It was one of the first clubs in the meatpacking district in New York. Mm-hmm. There was Lotus, and then there was like PM. There was Cielo, APT, and then PM was the first club with these promoters, Unique and Kiki. They were Haitian promoters, but they were
And
killing
Dimitri.
the game. And Dimitri, and they were killing the game. I was DJing at Pangea for Unique and Kiki. I did like their first hip hop party at Pangea. They're like, we're opening a club, and I started doing PM. So it was like me on Saturdays, and it was MOS on Fridays. I remember. So I was there every Saturday, and there was a cocktail waitress that would come to me every time I DJ'd, right? So we always talk about the arc of DJing. Like in New York, I'd go there, I'd get there at 10 o'clock, I'd set up my records, right? And I'd DJ from 10:30 to like 4 or 5 a.m. sometimes.
Marathons.
This is on vinyl,
sets.
right?
This is on vinyl.
Marathon sets.
Yeah, carrying like 3 crates of records in a record bag.
Yeah.
And the way New York was, you played classics. So you played classics, you played, you know, from 10:30 to 11:30 or maybe midnight. And if the crowd was feeling it, you kept hitting them with classics.
Right.
But I'm talking like 80s R&B, 70s, disco, everything you name it. Patricia Rushen, everything. And there was one cocktail waitress that would always come up to me and say, do you have this song? Do you have this song? How come you never play? How come you guys play all the same R&B songs? You don't have this song.
Yeah.
And there was one song she used to come up to me, and I didn't believe her that I should get this song. And she said, you don't have Centipede?
Oh,
And I said,
I did ask for Centipede.
and I was like, Centipede? She's like, you don't even know what Centipede is?
You didn't know what Centipede was?
No, I didn't know.
Before?
No. Come on.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying to help you.
I know. See? She said exactly like that too at the DJ booth. I'm like, yo, she's talking to me real spicy, you know? And then so finally I bought it and I dropped it, you know? And she's like, oh, finally. So every time I saw her, I would play Centipede, right?
Yeah.
And she had immaculate taste in music.
Wow.
Amazing taste in music. So I think at one point she was talking to me, and you know, this is probably around the year when I was about to move to Vegas. She came to me and she was like, you know, I'm gonna start learning to DJ. I think I want to start, you know, learning. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, I think you would be great. You know, I think we talked for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember what was happening. I think months went by, and I was like probably about to leave New York. It was 2005, I think. And everyone, and I was gonna come to Vegas, and I remember Unique and Kiki and Dimitri was like, "You're making the biggest mistake of your life. Vegas is the worst place to go. New York is the epicenter of nightlife. You're making the biggest mistake." DJs were like, because I was actually finally killing it. I think I was,
top tier.
Yeah, I was like finally making $1,000 a night at PM, which is really hard to do in New York.
Yeah.
So like when you're making a G a night, it was like, yo, you're doing really good. Right. I think I was doing Ruby Falls. I think there was there was a bidding war between Ruby Falls and PM on a Saturday.
For you.
Yeah. Who was the the GM who was like a hockey dude? Gordon. So Gordon hated DJs.
Hated.
He
hated everybody.
Yeah.
He hated the waitresses too.
Yeah. He thought DJs were so replaceable.
Yes, he did.
So I asked for a raise. I think I was getting like $800, and I asked for $1,000. And he's like, "Who's paying you $1,000?" I was like, "Ruby Falls is paying me $1,000." He's like, "Go to Ruby Falls."
Okay.
So I went to Ruby Falls. 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, they said, "We want you back. We'll give you $1,000." And I got my $1,000, and it was a good lineup. It was like MOS on Friday, and then me on Saturdays, and I would talk to people like, "How was Friday?" Because I would be like, "I want to know how MOS was doing."
Right.
Like, "Oh, he was dope. He played this. He played that." I'm like, "Damn, man, like he killed it." So I got to kill it tonight. So anyway, me and MOS would talk, and right before I came to Vegas, I was leaving. He was like, "Yeah, I started hanging out with Jakissa," and I'm like, "Oh yeah," and he's like, "Yeah, I think I'm show her like how to, I was teaching her how to DJ, and we kind of clicked." And I was like, "Oh, really?"
What? Tell me more.
And I was like, I knew she wanted to learn how to DJ. And I was like thinking in my head, I was going to say like, maybe I'll show you some shit. But I told him, I said, I didn't know if I wanted to show her how to DJ because what if she became bigger than me or something? I don't know if I can handle that shit.
Right.
Right. Damn. And I said, you should, I was just like, yo, be careful, man. Because I was joking with him. I think I said something like, yo, she might blow up, And he was like, "Yeah, no, we good now." I'm like, and I thought I think y'all dating maybe starting.
Right.
And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Like, that's perfect." I mean, she's like, she's such a sweet person. She has great taste in music, super cool. And I went to Vegas, and then from that on, I turned my back to New York.
Right.
But during that time in New York, I never heard the story of what was going on and how you started billing and started becoming a DJ in New York. And all of a sudden, all I knew was that you signed to Scam and you were blowing up. And everyone I knew was hating. They were like, "What the fuck is DJ Kiss? Where did this come from?
What is it? How can we get rid of it?"
Yeah, you were killing the game. Because here's the thing: one of the number one DJs in New York that was a woman DJ was Sky Neller, right? Yeah. She was like
that girl.
Before
there was that girl, she was that girl.
Sky Neller was
and
the
Beverly,
shit.
Bev Bond.
Beverly Bond.
They were that girl.
Beverly Bond was the shit. Yeah. She was the shit.
Yeah.
Sky Neller was like doing all of Fashion Week. She was the girl, and you were a threat. You like surpassed her to a certain point. You were killing the game. I don't think motherfuckers realize that you were one of the biggest women DJs in the 2000s, and you were killing the game. But I was so happy when I saw you because I saw it from the beginning.
Right.
And then when you joined Scam, I remember, and I was just like, "Oh shit!" Like everyone was like, "Yo, where she came from?" I'm like, "No, man. There's like, she's good." And she knows her music.
And Crooked always marveled at your taste in music.
Yeah.
Oh,
like always.
I appreciate that.
Because she would spin with MOS. And MOS is a party rocker. So he's like a big room party rocker dude. So when I hear him, I'm like, he's focusing on energy.
Yeah.
But then when she would come in, she would be playing shit. They're like, "Oh man, I forgot about this song." And the vibe would change. So it went from like a raw dance, big room, kind of like aggressive, y'all motherfuckers are gonna dance energy, to a real super sexy, vibey. Like she was pushing vibes and like really good selection early on. And you always impressed me.
DJing though.
Yes.
Because I wanted to play songs for people. There were songs that I loved that I would either make a playlist for a girlfriend or I would annoy the shit out of my neighbors blasting songs, and playing them over and over and over
Yeah.
again. But I was always a music nerd. Like I have a picture of me at 7 years old with an album that I asked for Christmas. You know, like I've always been that girl, to the point that when I started DJing, my parents wanted me to be a professional. I have a degree. You know, I started out at a PR firm and I was working, doing well. But finally, when they really thought about it, they're like, you've always been a music lover. Like you've always had music like coursing through your veins.
Yeah.
So they were like, yeah, this actually makes sense. I understand that we bought you your first album when you were 7 years old. Like
Yeah.
you weren't asking for board games. You were asking for albums.
Right.
Like you were a weird kid. So so then it just became full circle. They actually came one time. They visited New York because I'm from Louisiana, and they sat in the booth with me at Gold Bar. And so I'm playing songs that they played for me as a kid. I'm playing them now for this crowd, and they're behind me, and they were like, "Oh, we get it."
Right.
Like all of that shit influenced me. Now I'm influencing other people with what you know, brought me up with.
Right. It's so I want to hear your story a little bit, but I also want to hear like what was the clicking point, because you're in nightlife, you're hearing all these DJs, and you're probably like hearing us play some of the same sets, and like it gets repetitive, and you're hearing like I could kind of do this because I know what's missing, I know what the girls want, and I think there was a point where like it obviously like it's a very male dominated industry with DJs, but whenever we heard like a woman DJ come up, we always knew like that she was gonna have way better taste, and she was gonna know how to read a room of women way better than men, and like that's where you guys have really the upper hand, because you're gonna get that sexy vibe, you're gonna get the girls dancing, the girls singing, that's what I always thought. They're like, yo, they got the upper hand, they know exactly what women want. And a lot of the dudes, some of the dudes later, like in the 2000s, they were DJing too much for men.
100%.
And then so like the girls would leave, and then it would just become like a bunch of dudes, and it'd be dope. Like
Party over.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Though there was a style that motherfuckers were playing where they would play the sample of a song, and then they played the hip hop song, but then it became kind of repetitive. But it wasn't really. It was like listening to a mixtape, but it wasn't really danceable and shit.
Right.
But I want to know, like, when did it click when you were like, yo, like I should start DJing, and then why? And then you hit up MOS to teach you. I wanted to hear a little bit more about this.
Well, everything happened really organically. So I was doing bottle service at PM. I quit my PR job. I was just like, all right, I'm not making any money here. So I started doing bottle service at PM. And through the course of being a waitress, I just got trained to be a DJ because I hear music every single night. I see how DJs are putting it together. I would see that some nights, I'm not going to say the person's name, but
No,
some nights.
Say I want to hear it, but bleep
absolutely
it.
am not
You can
gonna say
bleep it. We'll bleep it. I swear.
I'm not saying it.
Tell us later on.
No, because it's shitty. Like you can't help it. If you're a bad DJ, you just can't help it. I'm not gonna look. But what I would say is that, like some nights the party would end early, like by 2:30. Everybody's like, oh, like and people are signing out checks. Nobody's buying stuff. But then some nights, like you were one of my favorites. When you were there, it would go until 4:30, and we were making more money. So just by virtue of wanting to make more money, I would prefer certain DJs. And I was like, what is, so I started paying attention. I'm like, why is the energy so different? Y'all are playing similar music. What is happening that some DJs are able to really captivate the crowd and take them on a journey and hold them hostage until 4:30? And then some DJs, just the crowd is like, all right, I'm going to go home to my cold slice of pizza. You know what I mean? Like this shit is whack. And just through that, I always say in my life, like God has been very like Mr. Miyagi for me, because I'll be, waxing on, waxing off. And then when it's time for the tournament, I'm killing it. So for me, he was trained, God, I'm very, spiritual and religious. God was training me to be a great DJ because I was in a nightclub 5 nights a week, watching DJs, watching who killed it, watching why they killed it. And then I was able to kind of formulate, well, where do I fit in to this?
Yeah.
And men, sometimes you guys get on this like tangent in your head that you want to play, but the crowd is like checked out.
Right.
Women are so sensitive to that. We're so like, we know when you're not paying attention, just in a interpersonal relationship. So the energy is even magnified when it's a crowd and they're not with you. I feel a chill run through my spine. I'm like, okay, fix this shit. You know, and I'm going to fucking figure out what these people want. I just won't take no for an answer. I'm going to figure out what this crowd wants. And I came into it with that fucking energy, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So you linked up with MOS, right?
Oh, I'll tell you that story. So yeah, he started
because these motherfuckers joke with me all the time.
Well, it's because when we had MOS on, MOS confirmed that you had asked Crooked to teach you how to DJ, but since he was kind of intransitive moving, he's like, nah, I don't have like. Basically, I
Crooked
can't.
was so nice. He was so sweet. Like, I wasn't meaning it and like, I'm going to take your job. But I was just like, it was just something that had kind of piqued
I
my
joke all the
interest.
time. I'm like, I tell motherfuckers like if you're going to teach a girl how to DJ, you have to be ready for her to be comfortable that she going to blow up. And then y'all going to break up. And then, and then you're going to see her blow, and then you're going to see her blow up. And then she's going to be with like, a better looking dude with more money who's more famous, and everyone's and then your boys are always gonna look at you like, yo,
You saw your girl?
That could have been you.
You saw you
fucked up.
So when we
like, yo, Jakissa look good at the Oscars.
Yo, cut the TV on. She's at the Oscars.
Yo,
your
she was at
girl's
the
on
Oscars,
TV.
and they'd be like, yo, Crook, how was San Diego? San Diego's cool. He was at the Oscars though.
So we
Not the Oscars.
So we joke with Crooked because we're like, yo. What if you would have taught her how to DJ? It would have been Crooked and Kiss. Know what I mean?
I've been Crooked and Kiss in here.
Yeah, you see? And there you go.
Yo,
bro.
that is so funny because what if you had shown me how to DJ?
What is it? The stars would have aligned,
But
Crooked and Kiss.
If that would have happened, there would be no podcast.
It's
We wouldn't be
okay.
here.
I don't know, man. I would have been in.
You were in the Oscars.
No, you
I would've
It's
been
giving the butterfly effect right now.
Yeah.
I would have been next to Obama. I would have been.
You would have been you.
I would have been Oprah. I would have had pictures with Oprah.
But instead, you with me and Jamie.
Yeah, so you see? You could
wasn't
have been
meant-
with Kiss on the fucking Oscars.
It wasn't meant to be. No. But I mean, yo, Jakissa is a beautiful. Like you're gorgeous.
Thank
and
you.
then MOS was a good looking,
Gorgeous
built,
man.
tall, linebacker looking motherfucker back then.
He does look like
right?
he'll knock you out, man.
That is a good looking man.
Yeah, he's a good looking man. So I was like, when he told me, I was like, yo, that makes sense. Like, yo, that's a power couple right there.
Yeah.
And it really was. So wait, so
It was so genuine though. We weren't thinking of where we would be in 15 years. You know, we were just at the moment we were vibing, and we were primarily vibing, other than the physical, on our love of music. Our entire relationship right now to this day is built on our love of music. That's the
That's beautiful.
foundation of our relationship is music, which is so insane. It's our love language. So, you know, when I was, you know, I thought he was cute, obviously, so I bring him drinks, and then I was sunning him like you.
yeah.
I was
Jesus.
like, "You don't have this song," you know, but it was playful though, you know. I'm like, "Oh, you
But
don't have this song?"
She wouldn't bring me drinks though. You see that? Yeah, that's why I had to go to the bar, and I ended up dating one of the bartenders. Remember
See-
Marianne
Oh yes! Oh my God!
with the
you
with the
totally-
tattoo on the shoulder?
Yes,
Where you did a
yes.
girl with a tattoo?
Yes, she was like
You're a fan. You tell me. I would
she
never
had
do
a
a girl with
huge tattoo on her shoulder.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Shouts to
yeah.
Marianne.
That's why I always went to the bar.
So you went out with her just to get drinks while you was DJing?
I don't know what. You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. There's something about a woman getting you drinks, and then you're like, yo, she looking out for me. So like, you know, when the bartender, like, if you're busy, I don't know if this happened, but if you're busy and it's crazy, and then you happen to get MOS a drink during this craziness, that's some love
So
shit. That's some
appreciated.
appreciation
Right,
shit.
right, right.
Like,
So
she
taking
cares
time
about-
out of her busy shit.
So like
Just
the
come check.
bar would be crazy. I'd go to the bar, and you know, I'm trying to be patient and wait, but you know, there's a song about to end. So so Marianne at that time, she would just look out for me, and there'd be everyone screaming. She already knows what
She
I
would
drink.
stop. Yep.
She would give me a heavier pour, so I wouldn't have to come back
Keep
for 2 or
coming
3
back.
drinks.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, she looking out, like she got my back.
Aw, Crooked and Marianne.
But yeah, so all right, so you were getting him drinks. I didn't get drinks, but you were getting him drinks.
You also didn't teach me to DJ.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you could have said yes.
But yeah.
So yeah, I would get him a drink, and after a while, after a couple of weeks of being like, "Oh, do you have this song? Oh, do you have this song?" And also, wait, let me go back. I loved what he was playing. He would play samples of songs that I loved in the beginning of the night. And I was just like, oh, like he was talking to me through the music. I was like, oh, I like him. So finally, this is how long ago it was. I burned him a CD of all the songs that he didn't have that I kept asking him for. I was like, no, just take these, because you'll. And he was like so impressed, like kind of like the drinks at the bar. He was like, wow, she like took time out and made a CD of songs that I don't have to help me.
But it's deep. It's like personal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's deep. On a music level, like that's deep. That's like when you make a mixtape for something, you basically made him a mixtape.
I basically made him.
That's kind of like
That's cute. Romantic.
That's like a Hallmark card.
Yeah.
For a DJ?
Do you remember what songs that you had on that CD? It has to be like a certain song you remember that he didn't have.
And it'll be crazy if MOS still has that CD somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like in a drawer.
That'll be the cover.
Let me think about it, and I'm gonna try to remember.
All right.
But there were a couple of songs.
Do you remember what year this was?
Yeah, this was 2005.
Because I do feel like because you're from Louisiana, there's some R&B, like, because, there's like the typical New York classics that we all gravitate to. And you always brought in some down south R&B that I was like, really? Does that hit? And I wasn't sure about it.
Right.
Because you was
Right,
from
of
Louisiana,
course.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah, I feel like New York and LA very much have they have a certain perspective of music, right? So your radio sounds this way. In LA, the radio sounds this way. In Louisiana, the radio sounds different. So I just came in with a different point of view.
Yeah.
That's it.
But it was completely refreshing. It was dope. Yeah, it was
different.
good. All right, so you and MOS are connecting.
And then I just asked. I'm like, yo, can you give me a DJ lesson? So I think he thought I was flirting, which I wasn't really flirting, but he was very cute. I wasn't really flirting. I was really like, can you teach me to DJ? So he was like,
so you were more business. You were like, yeah, I want to learn to DJ.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, of course. I wanted to DJ. But I did think he was cute. That definitely didn't hurt. So, and being from the South, I have manners, so I don't just go to people's houses empty-handed. So I get to his house for the DJ lesson and I bring a bottle of vodka. Because, like, that's the polite thing to do. You're teaching me how to DJ. I'm not going to show up empty-handed. So he sees me, the vodka, and he's like, oh, word?
Yeah.
Is that kind of party?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Let me put this mix CD on that you made.
Yeah, but, like, come on, fellas. If they bring in liquor, then we're like, okay, this is gonna go somewhere else.
Well, we work in nightlife. Exactly. And I totally
You know what's
get
the
it
funny
in
part?
hindsight.
She's like, this is probably his favorite vodka, and that's when she brought it. This motherfucker was just like, what the hell?
It's on and
It's on and popping.
It's on and popping.
Let me put her mix CD on.
I'm picturing him teaching her how to DJ. And you guys remember Ghost when they were doing the pottery?
Yeah.
It was kind of like that, right? He was just kind of
100%. Exactly like that. It was the black version of that.
the black version. My God.
And so he just started teaching me how to beat match, which just blew my mind at the time. I was like, there's no fucking way I'm going to learn how to do this. It was just so complicated to me.
It was all vinyl?
It was on vinyl. And I was just like, oh shit, maybe I'm not going to be able to do this, But, I stuck with it. He gave me a couple of more lessons. And then I went to Scratch Academy. So he was teaching me as well. But I just took it seriously. I didn't want it to be. And then we were dating. So then I was like, okay, I don't want it to be like, if we stop dating, I'm not going to be a DJ. So I went to Scratch Academy and started taking it seriously. Took several courses. And then just took it, I started taking it seriously, and then I asked him if I could open for him.
At PM?
No, not at PM. I opened for him at Stereo.
Ooh.
Okay.
I would, and actually, let me take that back. I wouldn't. I would open for him at Air Lounge. At Stereo, I would close for him. So when I would go to Stereo, and also the other thing about me is I loved, in addition to R&B, I loved like NWA. I love like really hardcore hip hop.
Right.
So at Stereo, I would come on after him and I would just be playing all this hardcore shit, like da da da, because it's like a party at this point. I'm not like playing smooth grooves. So, and like some of the, I don't know, an old school rap group came up and was asking him in the booth, who is this? Like, she's going harder than you. Like, she's playing way harder shit than you.
Yeah.
And he was like, yo, it's DJ Kiss. But it was just this phenomena where, you know, I knew how to play different crowds. And that, I think, was just a result of being exposed to a bunch of different music and really genuinely from childhood loving all different types of music. Because as you guys know, music wasn't segregated back in the day. Like, if you wanted to watch your Prince video, you had to watch the whole video show, right? So you would learn all the music. Just to see your song, you had to watch the whole show. You didn't know what point in the show your song would come on. So you were exposed to a lot of different music, and I just learned to love it all, and then it just came in handy.
So you started closing for him at Stereo, and
Stereo, and that was
Stereo
a big deal.
was a big club. So like at one point, Stereo was probably the #1 club in New York, and everyone was doing. But it was like that was like the beginning of the new generation of nightclubs of like Stereo, Tenjune, right?
Yes,
and it was all the like PMs started like phasing out. Lotus got phased out, and then there was this new breed of like the meatpacking district and all of these new club owners.
Right.
Oh, so then you started closing for him, and then what was your first gig?
My first club gig, believe it or not, because I'd closed so many times at Stereo, Mike Satsky hired me to do New Year's Eve at Stereo. I don't think I'd ever done a full night there, or maybe.
Really?
Wow.
But he hired me to do, because Masood was doing their, Satsky and his partners were doing a New Year's Eve party somewhere else, but they also had their club open. So Satsky hired me to DJ his New Year's Eve party at Stereo, which is the biggest deal, you know, at the time. I was like, oh my God. And yeah, that really kind of set it off for me.
Shit. So then after that, where were you DJing regularly? Like what were your residencies in New York?
In New York, I mean, I've played everywhere in New York, but the early before, I would say the Avenue and Marquee generation, I did do Marquee. I would do the upstairs at Marquee. You know where else was my first residency that I got on my own, not affiliated with anyone? Star Lounge.
Star Lounge.
Do you remember Star? It was Star something in the Hamptons. It was a big club. That's where, like, if you remember, like Lizzie.
Oh, that was Conscious Point.
Exactly.
Originally Conscious Point, then it turned into Star Lounge, I guess.
Star something. I don't think it was called Star Lounge there, but it was Star.
I know
something.
what you're talking about. Yeah.
So it was the same owners.
Yeah.
They were opening up a spot in Manhattan. And one of the waitresses that worked with me at PM was like, oh, they're opening up this new club. And I was like, oh, shit, I want to try to get a job there, DJing, you know? Yeah. So I went to the club without an appointment, without calling anybody. I walked in, like, the club was under construction. Like, the floors weren't even down yet. But I, like, you know, crawled to the back, and there was somebody back there, and I was like, hi, I'm DJ Kiss. I would like to try to get a DJ night here. And they had me come back and audition. The club was not finished. I auditioned to in an unfinished club. I practiced my little audition at home. It's very 8 Mile. You know,
Right.
I practiced my audition at home, and I was playing. Like, what was I playing? I played something crazy. Like, I played Daisy Lady during this set. Like, it was just something crazy. Like, it was a mix of stuff. It's truly open format, but I remember that specific song that was in the set. And I auditioned, and they gave me the Friday residency at Star Lounge before it even opened. Like, it was crazy. A brand new. So I worked very hard, right? But I was also very fortunate, because not everyone's hard work gets met with the same results. And I understand that, and I'm super, 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 let me go on record and say, very grateful.
Yeah.
Very lucky and very grateful. I did work hard, but also I was lucky. Because these different things, like getting the New Year's Eve job, going to this club before it even opened, and getting a job, auditioning for these people, you know?
I mean, it's always a combination of being ready and getting an opportunity, right?
Facts.
So some of the opportunities come from luck. Some of them come from, kind of being in the scene and everything like that. But you really have to be ready.
Right.
And that's the thing about New York. If you're not ready, they're not gonna hook you up.
For your first residencies, were you on vinyl, or was this at the point where you had got on Serato?
Serato. So I learned how to DJ on vinyl But it was exactly at the point where everyone was just doing Serato.
Yeah.
But remember, you used to have to bring your own Serato box every night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The clubs didn't have it. You had to set your own Serato box up.
Right.
You had your Serato box with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So then,
You remember?
I remember that time. Yeah.
so while I was in Vegas,
Killing it.
well, yeah, well,
Murdering it.
I was grinding, and then you were in New York building this. So this is like maybe around 2007. You started working more steadily. When did the Gold Bar open and all that?
Do you remember Jamie? He was the bartender manager. He opened Kane, and then he opened Gold Bar.
Oh, okay.
So I had a connection. I still had to prove myself, but I, just wanted to try a night. And Gold Bar was, when you say open format, it's super open it's actually not open format because they didn't want to hear anything new. You could only play classics the whole night, and you had to get an entire club dancing for 6 hours. The set is from 10 to 4, only on classics. So that really stretched me and made me understand how to get a crowd on their feet without playing anything new. So once I had that skill, I could play anywhere because I'm jumping around, but a lot of opening DJs, a lot of DJs that opened for me rather, they were just kind of like, who the fuck is this chick? And they would just play whatever they want. They didn't adhere to the rules, right? When you're an opening DJ, you play opening shit.
Yeah.
But because I was a woman, they didn't give a fuck. So they would try to burn me and play the hot shit. I'm like, you're playing for the waitresses. Like, nobody's even here yet, but go off. But I learned you can play whatever the fuck you want before I get on. I'm still going to smash it. You can play every hot song on the chart right now. As soon as I get on, I guarantee I'm going to smash it. I don't have to play any of that. But I learned that from Gold Bar. From having to do that for 6 hours, keeping people's interest with classics.
That's right. Any other city, maybe besides Miami, you couldn't get that training, right? You couldn't get that 6 hour training.
Absolutely. 6 hours.
I talk to West Coast DJs a lot, and they always say like, whatever, you keep talking about these marathon sets. I'm like, no. When you do a 6 hour set,
regularly,
open to close, when you're stuck in a big room in a big nightclub and you don't know what to play, your instincts come. So whatever comes to mind, you already have 6 hours, 18 hours. You have all this, from all these marathon sets, you have so many little sets from every era. It could be 80s R&B.
Yep.
It could be new wave.
Yep.
It could be old school 90s hip hop.
Reggae.
Classic rock.
Dance hall, anything.
Yeah.
But because you've been doing these 6 hour sets for 2 years, 3 years, you have so many places to grab from to give you more time and buy you more time to figure out what the crowd wants.
Yep.
But they don't realize that shit.
Even right now, I wouldn't want to do a 6 hour set. That shit is just too long right now. But that's what we started.
But it's the best training.
It's the best training.
Yeah.
Also, you learn the vibe. You see the crowd come in and you feel the energy and you're like, all right, it's time to start, getting a little more crunk,
You learn your pace too, right?
Right.
You learn your pace. Imagine if you're just doing the main part of the night. Oh, you didn't even ease these people into anything.
Right.
You just got on and started playing hits. Any asshole can do that.
It's just
You can get a fucking Spotify playlist and just play the hits.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no foreplay. There's no warming
There's no
up.
foreplay. Maybe that's why I like it so much.
Yeah.
There was no foreplay.
But it's great because it's even when you're opening, there's songs that you test the crowd with. So if you oh wow, they're responding to this, let me go a little deeper. And then you can early on, you already know what you're dealing with.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if you got the crowd early on, whoever is walking in is following the lead of the energy of the crowd that you already set up.
That's it.
So by that point, by 12:30, they got you, and you
They
can
trust
actually
you.
go anywhere you want.
And they trust you.
Right.
Yeah.
And in New York, we had a thing where we've always talked about this. If we could go to 2 a.m. and not play any new bangers.
Yeah.
That we already knew.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, exactly.
Be like, wow, man, it's 1:30. I haven't even played Nori nothing. Right?
Jesus.
I haven't hit them with the big guns yet.
I haven't hit that.
Again, just want to love you, Gen Z. I haven't played that yet.
I haven't played nothing.
Wait till I drop this PSA.
Yeah. Or they going off to all this old shit. They're going off to OPP. This is great.
Who's that chick, huh? We still got a lot way to go on this Rockefeller train.
But exactly. It's the best training you could have.
Yeah.
And it was actually, I think it's during the best time Because even now, if you were doing a 6-hour set in New York, you wouldn't even be able to play all those classics.
That's yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to play all that new wave. You wouldn't even be able to play all that rock and roll that we had to. We could play.
I mean, you had to play rock. You had to have a solid rock set back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? You had to.
But now, like a 6-hour set in New York is like more, like vibey, R&B, Afro beats, maybe some
Right. It changed.
You know, like some 2000s, like 2000s would be the classics.
That's
era.
the classics now. That's the classics. Like, wait, how old am I? Like, that's the classics. Like, shit.
But that's why I always think like the 90s and 2000s in New York was the best time because you were playing David Bowie into like Rolling Stones.
Wham.
Yeah. And I was even learning about all this shit. Like, I remember hearing Eli Escobar playing like U2 and like, just like Bloody Sunday and being like, yo, what song is this?
In the club.
In the club.
Like, you wouldn't play that in a club right now.
No, I'm playing like
Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah.
That used to be a big one. That was a crowd favorite.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, 9 Inch Nails, like Closer.
Yeah.
Like, all of these
God,
great, these great, but like mixing 9 Inch Nails Closer and then you hear like in the club instrumental underneath it. And I'm like, yo, and then you're just hearing like these two worlds colliding and you're hearing, and you're seeing white people, black people, Puerto Ricans, and everyone's just like, yo, like vibing off of all of this shit.
Yep.
It's just, to me, it's one of the best times in nightlife. But I mean,
I agree. It was a golden age for DJs for sure. It's 100%.
It's like the best era I think that we came up in to hear all that shit and hear all the DJs before us. All right, so you're blowing up, you're doing Star, and then you're bubbling. So like, what? I think I started hearing about you at Gold Bar because everyone's like, Gold Bar's the hot spot. And I would come back to New York. I'd visit New York. And everyone's like, you know who's headlining? Or you know who's... you know what's going on, right? Crooked. Yeah, ever since you left, New York been falling apart, man. I'm like, why? What's going on? And they're like, you know who's DJing and headlining at Gold Bar? And you know who was telling me this, right? You already know who's telling me that.
I have an idea.
If I'm really honest, I already know who's telling you that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the name.
Yeah.
Does it start with?
Yeah.
I'm gonna bleep that one letter.
I already know.
You already know.
But I'm not even mad at that. I totally get it. It just happened that way. I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I can't help it that people started hiring me, and it's not like, wouldn't you rather them hire someone who's really fucking in it for the right reason than to hire just a fucking face that's just pushing play back there?
No.
You know?
But the thing is, like, I was like, no, like, I get it. Because she was putting me on the music. And she was like sending me, like, she was making me embarrassed. Like, I don't know Centipede. I don't know that. I would go to Rock and Soul, like, do you guys have Centipede?
They're like, from the 80s.
And Ruben's like, yeah, we got Centipede, you get that shit. All right, so you're blowing up. You're doing New York. You're killing it. I'm sure motherfuckers are giving you Fashion Week. You're getting Fashion Week events.
I had to fight for those jobs.
You did. Because like everyone who had a Fashion Week event and was like tied to a brand, they would never let go of that, or they would never get replaced unless they really fucked up somehow.
Yeah.
Or they died or some shit happened. Right? Like no one loses a corporate event, right? So you started trying to build all of this.
Yeah, brick by brick. I mean, my background was PR, so that really helped me. So I put together a press kit. Like I knew how to speak to corporate people.
Perfect.
So that really helped, and that's where I was able to help Masood, or MOS. So when he was teaching me how to DJ, and he was, helping me with my swag in the club, and, just giving me the confidence to go in this room, and you can kill it musically, but you got to walk in that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, I'm about to kill this shit. Don't fucking talk to me. I'm about to kill this shit. You got to walk in that shit like Rocky. You know what I mean? So having him have my back and having trained with him, and studied with him and listened to his sets and your sets and stuff, that really gave me the confidence. But what I was able to give to him was the more corporate part of it. So like when we got together, I was like, okay, you need to do a photo shoot. I set up the photo shoot. I was like, all right, you need to do a press kit. We did a biography, so I started helping him package himself better. So between the two skill sets, it really helped us both.
Right. You showed him the blazers and the collar shirts.
I may or may not have bought a few of those.
Goosebumps hearing this, bro. Like that love language of music, and like you said, and you guys
my
just
gosh.
compliment each other so
Yes.
well, and you teaching him something, him doing the same. Like that's incredible.
That could have been crooked, man.
I mean,
Jesus, crooked. See what you've done?
he
You should've got a press
dropped
kit.
the ball.
'Cause
Drop the ball.
I
Big
think
time.
for men DJs, at least I can speak for myself. Starting out, that is something that you don't realize how valuable those tools are. To package yourself, market yourself, do those things. We're focused on. I was focused on strictly music.
Skill.
Right.
But then you learn that skill, yes, you need to have it, but it's not all there is. It's about 50%.
Yeah.
You know, part of it is your image, how you're packaged, who you're affiliated with. And at one point in our early journey together, we literally sat on the floor, he and I, and we wrote the top DJs out. And we went through each DJ and we said, what do they have that we don't have? So we'd be like, do they have a celebrity connection? Are they famous? Are they fucking somebody? Like, we're like, what is the thing?
Why
that is
them and not me?
yeah. Well, not in a and not
Not
in a
like-
salty
not
way.
in a salty way,
In a
yeah.
way like, let's figure this shit out. And
Yeah.
we really dissected it. And I am not being facetious. We sat on a floor with a pen and paper and we're like, okay, Mark Ronson, Samantha Ronson, Sky Neller, what do they have? What they're affiliated with this? How? And I was like, okay, if we don't have the celebrity connection, what can we do to make up for that? You know? But we just studied people who were successful.
Right.
And we try to figure out where we can fit in
Yeah.
that hierarchy.
And in a sense, if you're in any business, you should do that.
Yeah.
You should study the best, and you should see what qualities they have that you don't have.
Yep.
And then you should work towards getting those qualities, and also seeing what they don't have that you have.
Right.
Right. And so that's actually a perfect thing for anybody to do,
Yep.
Yes.
to be honest. But also what we're not talking about is this is before social media. This is before the internet.
It's before Instagram.
And actually,
Lord.
and PR was really important because I remember New York DJs were obsessed with
PR.
getting their name mentioned in the
Page
New York
6.
Post.
Yeah.
In the page 6.
Gotta be in page 6.
This was the era where motherfuckers, there were DJs probably towards the late 2000s, and I think stereo was definitely the major club where everyone wanted to get mentioned, where, I don't know, Britney Spears and, you know, I don't know who the fuck was popping at that time.
Like Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, Justin Timberlake, Hannah Montana, or whatever the fuck.
Dancing to DJ Crooked. Boom.
Yeah, dancing at stereo to the very late nights with DJ Kiss or Blase Blah. And DJs in New York were paying, I think, about 5 to 7K a month to PR agencies.
I thought it was 2K. I didn't even know it was that much.
It was pretty expensive.
It depends on which agency, because
Yeah.
we hired a publicist as well that was not that expensive, but there are publicists that are that expensive for sure.
Yeah, so it's like you could pay $2,000 and you'll get maybe one mention a month. You pay $5,000, you might get mentioned like every week.
Numerous times.
Yeah. So it's like kind of like how much you shell out and how much you pay.
Right.
They're gonna work harder to make sure you're mentioned and you're there.
Yeah.
That was the only outlet of advertising.
Yep.
At that time,
I forgot about that. Page 6.
Yeah.
When's your name in that fucking article?
It was like the publicist
big
era
deal.
because
Wow.
everyone was like,
Yeah.
"Yo, you got a publicist? You got a publicist?"
Yes.
Because and they were like coming to me like, "Crook, you got a publicist?" I'm like, "No, like, man, you falling off, man. You need a publicist."
Need a publicist.
Damn.
And I remember I did research and I was like, 5K. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not paying 5 fucking K for a fucking publicist. That's crazy.
Well, and the only social media at that point was MySpace. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that-
MySpace. Yeah, exactly.
that was the only type of social media. But even then, like that one kind of, you got to be in somebody's top 8.
But it's not a good look. It wasn't like a look like getting mentioned in the paper.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And there's like, and especially when you're in New York, there's a pretension that you got to get mentioned and you have to be around certain circles.
Right.
Which is one of the reasons why I moved to Vegas.
Yeah. I could
Because
see that.
I knew I was like, all right, I'm a decent DJ. You know, I work hard, but at that point there was like this stigma: if you're not a rich kid, you're not going to be in the cool circles, and you're not going to do
The
like
cool
the
gig.
big, cool gig.
That's another reason why I moved to Vegas. 'Cause
Right.
I
Yeah.
realized that when I was spending out in New York.
You did the same thing. That's what you realized,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Like when I saw Mark Ronson blowing
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
Just Ski, all these guys, it was like, yo.
The cool
I
kids.
saw what was happening. I was like, all right, it's time to make that move.
Yeah.
Let them take over and I just move to Vegas and do my thing there.
Yeah. Because it became less about DJing and more about society. And you're like, well,
Like who you know, who you hang out with, who you could bring to the party.
right,
So-
exactly. That was a big thing as well, your circle, because the clubs would hire you hoping that your circle, your friends would come. So that's why they would.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of things too, though. It's like style, the clothing, being like the rich kids were tied into someone in fashion. They knew this person, they knew that. You know, they had already a rich crowd, so when they DJ'd, they were selling, you know, 3 tables when they spun.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm just like this broke kid from fucking, from, you know, Manhattan Uptown. And I'm like, yo, whenever I invite my friends over, like a fight breaks out, I can't even invite my friends.
I can't even get my friends into the venue.
They gonna smoke weed in the spot. I'm gonna get in trouble. So I couldn't even bring my friends anywhere.
Right.
And I remember, like, to me, he's one of the best
super dope
club DJs in New York.
Yeah.
And I was looking at him, and he was like, to me, he was like, I want to be just as good as mic control, crowd control, everything. And he was peaking only in these bridge and tunnel nightclubs. And I remember having a conversation with R.O.A.D at the time. And I said, I got to try Vegas out because it's a way better DJ than I am. And if he's stuck in like, quote unquote, hip hop bridge and tunnel clubs, like what am I going to be stuck in? You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, I got to try Vegas out and see what's good.
And it's so funny, until you mentioned it, I really forgot about the hierarchy. There really was. It's just a wall that you couldn't get past if you weren't in these people's circle.
Even if you were like even being like kind of like a minority.
You
know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was just, you had to kind of face the fact, like, unless I'm really partnering up with a rich kid and I'm getting co-signed by like a rich white kid, I'm not going to make it in New York like that.
That's so crazy.
You remember that, right?
That era. I really did.
Because I really was not.
That was true. That's why we wrote that list.
Yeah,
If you think about it, the
when
list
you said those names, I was like, they're all white.
Yeah.
Like, they're all white.
But at the
rich kids,
time, they were the people that were working the most, doing the top events and stuff. So we were just trying to map our career out the best we could. Like, what can we offer this scene? What do we have? You know?
Yeah. And if you were lucky, you befriended or like a white promoter who was doing all the hot parties.
Yes.
You were their go-to DJ.
And they would insist on you.
They would insist on you, and you would kind of
piggyback off that.
Piggyback, and then you might get kind of grandfathered into the circle of like cool motherfuckers.
Right.
But, you know.
That's how I got lucky.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
But at some point you realize.
Who grandfathered you in?
I started doing parties with Bill Spector.
Okay. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then I was DJing with Mark Ronson once in a while.
Yeah.
He kind of put me onto like promoters. I don't know if you remember Vegas.
Yeah, of course.
Him. So, yeah. This is like before, I guess when you came to New York, I had left and moved to Vegas by then.
When did you move to Vegas?
2003.
Okay, yeah, I just gotten there.
Yeah.
But there's a certain point when you get these opportunities, but then you notice it's still not enough.
Right.
And you're seeing other motherfuckers kind of like move ahead of you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, okay.
Who
like,
can't DJ, by the way, also.
Yeah. Well, it's not as good, you know? But you're just kind of like, yo, like, so I'm not in those circles. I'm not like tapped into like all the rich white kids. So I got to figure another thing out, you know?
In hindsight, now I totally understand why you moved.
Yeah.
I don't know why I kind of forgot about that whole time period, but it was very hierarchy. It was very
weird.
like, are you celebrity? Are you affiliated with a celebrity or?
Right. Or it's kind of, and it was also another thing of like Crooked, you know, like that's such a hip hop name. You like use your real name. Like Richard something, like you know what I'm saying?
Richard S.
Yeah,
Right.
like
right.
I remember rock because it was like Mark Ronson, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It was like Todd Malice. There was like all these other
Sky
dudes,
Neller.
right? Sky Neller. It was like all these real name motherfuckers. It was like, oh, you like DJ Rampage? You're like, yo, you on that hip hop? Like I want to be tough. So they were like, oh, Crooked. Like you know, why you sounding crooked? Use your real name.
I never thought about that. Wow.
But it was at the time.
Who was the other DJ that was Delight DJ?
Annie Quinn.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about.
Annie Quinn was killing. He's nasty. But R.O.A.D had the dopest name. R.O.A.D is the dopest name ever. And he was like about to change it to Andrew Brown.
Like, that's crazy.
which is the worst
Right.
name. So I remember he gave me a business card and it said Andrew Brown. I'm like, what the fuck
What
is
is this?
I'm like, do you do like accounting?
Real
Like, why are
estate?
you giving me
Accounting.
like,
Right.
like I was like, why are you giving me this card that says Andrew Brown? He's like, all the promoters been telling me to use my real name. I'm like, dude, R.O.A.D is the sickest fucking name
ill.
I've ever
Yeah.
heard. Andrew Brown sounds like some dude that does my taxes.
Yeah, that's what I'm
like,
saying, he does
shit
your
is whack,
taxes.
yo. And it's Andrew shit because we used to do the Reservoir Dogs. They're like,
Yeah.
Mr. Brown. I'm like, sounds like Andrew shit. So, so he kept it R.O.A.D. But that I remember that era distinctly because I was like, I got to move to Vegas.
Yeah.
But-
It was smart probably in hindsight because there was
Probably.
no way to get in.
No, I would have been, when I
The
when-
only reason I was able to, again, because I had been a waitress, so I had relationships with these people outside of DJing. So it's kind of like, oh, we'll give her a chance. But if you didn't really know the club owners and the managers and stuff, and you weren't a rich kid or affiliated with a celebrity, yeah, they're probably not going to give you a chance.
But also having that PR background is important. And also like just being able to sit down like you did and make that list and really just like take it seriously like a real business.
Yep.
That's great.
From day one,
Yeah.
we felt like that.
What year was that when you put the list together? Do you remember?
It was like probably 2007,
Seven, eight.
Around
6 or 7.
DJ AM era.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely the DJ.
Oh, that's
AM.
when New York started trying to be like AM too. That
Remember
was a
that?
horrible
That was an
time.
era. That was an era. That was an era.
That was so horrible. I used to go back and I'm like, oh my God, why are they trying to DJ like West Coast DJs?
Doing the same mix as
Yes, yes. You're like, no, you have a distinct sound. Let's keep it New York. No.
Yeah. That's crazy. So wait, when did Sujit at Scam sign you? When did he take notice of you? Do you remember? Were you doing like Atlantic City and all of this shit before that?
I was. Yeah, I think that was it. I had gotten so much stuff on my own that, for Sujit, it made sense because if you have to bring a DJ in and now you have the same number of clients, but now an extra DJ, then somebody's jobs are going to get taken.
Well, you were probably taking work away from his DJs. So he's like,
Well, no.
yeah,
So
yeah.
in general, that's the business model, right? So you have the same number of clients, but you bring on another DJ, then somebody's jobs are getting taken. But if you bring on a DJ that has new clients, then they're actually adding to the pot. And for a Scam artist at that time, they only had Sky. And Sky was a high-end DJ. So there were some jobs she's just not going to do for that money. And
Yeah.
Scam was like, we don't want to let these jobs just go. So they wanted to get a girl that could DJ that could take those jobs. So
Right.
that's who I ended up being. Yeah.
I remember Sky used to complain about Sujit, and she would have these high end clients, like fashion clients,
Right.
like high end, like I'm
Dior.
Dior,
Yes.
like a Louis Vuitton or something. And she was like, I can't believe the way Sujit is talking to these motherfuckers.
Yes.
And she it was to the point where she's like, you're not talking to them anymore. I'm talking to them.
Right.
Because you're fucking this all up.
Right.
Because Sujit is just very
just
abrasive.
raw. Yeah.
He'll send an email like, I'll be like, hey, I haven't been in Miami in a minute. He's like, I'm on it. And then he'll send an email to someone in the club in Miami like, DJ Crooked, ? Thoughts?
right. Yo, you have no idea how much I fucking love Sujit, though.
Yeah.
I adore Sujit. Because of how he is.
Yeah.
He is who he is.
Yeah. But then the motherfucker in Miami is like, yo, Sujit just sent me this email. DJ Crooked ? Thoughts?
Thoughts.
But so you're doing this, so you're handling all your bookings. Wow.
Yeah, because I wasn't big enough for a manager. And you know how it was? Like, they were like, okay, you got a couple of club dates. Good for you.
How did you figure out your rates? Like, what was your way? What was your tactic?
Did MOS help you out with that?
He did. But essentially, I mean, I was so new, I was just taking whatever they gave me. Honestly, I DJ'd for free a lot. Just
Wow.
you have to get yourself out there. There's no other way. You've got to get yourself out there.
Crazy.
So, yeah. And I overlapped for a while. So I was still waitressing for a while. So I still was able to pay my bills while I was coming up in as a DJ. And then at a certain point, I think even a club owner or something said, okay, well, you got to pick one or the other because, like, one day you're on the floor and then you're trying to DJ. He was just like, it's just.
Oh, you were still juggling waitressing?
Yeah, because I wasn't making any money as a DJ. I was
right.
opening for, DJ MOS, or I was closing. Like, I wasn't making money.
Oh, so you were like missing nights, taking nights off.
Yeah, exactly. It was just too weird. So finally, I just took a leap of faith and quit waitressing and
Wait, where were you waitressing and juggling this DJing at the time?
I was at Marquee at that time. After
Oh, okay.
after PM, I went to Marquee.
Oh wow.
So, and you know who was there at the time? Who was a big and good DJ? DJ Omi.
Oh, Omi, yeah.
Yeah, Omi was the girl. She was kind of the club girl
I forgot about
in that
her.
moment.
Omi, yeah.
Yeah.
I think she's in Miami now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
but
she's in Miami, yeah.
Omi was lovely. I mean, you know, of course, when I came, she was kind of like, who the fuck are you? But she was as nice as she could be. And then we grew to have a friendship afterwards. But she was killing it when I started. So, yeah.
Yeah, I have some funny stories.
Omi, aw, she was so sweet.
All right, so, wait. So when did Sujit hit you?
It must have been, I want to say 2007.
Wow.
Damn.
It was either 2007 or 8. And I loved being with scam artists. I mean, they got me that residency in Vegas. So for that, I was at Studio 54 at MGM before Hakkasan.
Yeah.
And like, at the time I was the only girl in Vegas. Like other girls were opening. Tina T,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
opened for me one night. And like, she's way
amazing.
better of a DJ than me.
Technically, she's amazing. She's really great.
Yeah.
No, she's way better of a DJ than me. But because I was like with scam and blah, 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 the hierarchy, it was just all about hierarchy. But I think I was like at some club that Strategic owned or something. Tao. I was at Tao.
Yeah,
So
Tao.
I think she opened for me at Tao or something, but
Right.
way better DJ. But yeah, there just weren't any girls that had a whole night. Like I was the resident DJ at Studio 54. Like they flew me there twice a month.
Wow.
For at least a year or two. And a lot of times Masood would, MOS would be in Vegas too. So we would like literally be at two separate clubs in Vegas.
Was MOS at DGI at this point or not yet?
No, he was on his own. He had an individual manager. What was his name? Akil.
Okay.
Do you remember Akil?
No.
Akil Rucker. Akil Rucker. He was in Nightlife and knew all the people, so he was a great manager for MOS at the time.
Was it tough sometimes, like, you know, because you're with MOS and maybe your career was like maybe like moving faster than his or more ahead? Was it tough with you guys personally, or you guys always understood and you guys were always supportive, you know, at the same time?
He has always 100% been 100% supportive.
Yeah.
He's literally my biggest fan. Like the thing that my mom loved about him was like for our first couple of like birthdays, Christmas, Valentine's Day, he would buy me DJ equipment. Like it would be Valentine's Day and I wouldn't get like lingerie. He would buy me like new needles or like, you know, like
Yeah,
something
that's
like
funny
that.
as shit.
Like, yo, to the point that I had to have my friend tell him like, okay, you need to start getting her girlfriend gifts. Like, but my mom loved it because it was like, yo, she said, he believes in you.
Yeah.
Like this man is buying you shit for your career. Like, you know, and so he's always been supportive. And
Shouts to moms.
but as you know, for back in the day specifically, there were like club DJs and event DJs, and there wasn't that much overlap. So I quickly got into the event space,
Right.
which just makes more money, has more opportunity, and he was still doing clubs. So what we did together was work on building his event profile.
Got it.
Because, you know, you can do one event, and that'll be the equivalent of 3 club nights.
And was he like kind of like showing you certain like big room or like more high energy club things he was doing? Because
I would just come to his gigs.
Right,
I would just study him. I just studied every single DJ. I just always paid attention to how people move, how they mix songs, how they quick mix, how, you know, things.
Yeah. I remember there was a funny video maybe a few years ago where you and MOS were in a car and y'all were talking about New York hip hop.
Yes.
And then and I remember you were so
He tried to stun me.
You were so annoyed, right? It was cute though, because he's like, yeah, you rep New York, but you really from Louisiana, so you don't really know New York
true.
hip hop. I don't know if someone was interviewing y'all, or I don't know what was going on.
We were having a fight in the car, and I just turned on Instagram because I was like, you sound crazy right now. Because I'm not from here, I don't know all the joints.
Yeah.
But it turns out I don't know all the joints. Like if you weren't there, in New York City, listening to, Hot 97, there's some shit you missed.
Yeah.
Sorry, you just missed it.
Yeah, just growing up in the 80s, 90s, because like hip hop was just everywhere.
Yes.
Whereas like if you were outside in another city, you were watching it through a TV.
Through Rap City.
When it was, when it was actually happening like all around us, like everything was happening. Like
Yes.
even the fashion was just all around us. Like it wasn't, we weren't looking at like a music video to be like, oh, that's the new Columbia rain suit.
We was part of it. We was experiencing it.
We saw motherfuckers wearing Vasquez boots and like corduroys.
That's crazy because
and
in
shit,
LA, like it infiltrated LA so hard with the fashion, like to the point where like we started wearing Tommy and Eddie Bauer and all these things that was kind of foreign to LA. Like we were more like Dickies and certain shit. You know what I mean? But I was wearing Timbs like with jean shorts and like. It's too hot to be wearing fucking Timbs in LA, but we were just doing it because
the beef and broccoli.
New York, it was just so popping, and it was everywhere on TV.
It was just, you know what it was in New York? It was so natural because there was always one fly motherfucker that was always on top of the new shit, and he introduced everybody to Tommy Hilfiger, or and there was probably someone who put him onto something.
Nautica.
Yeah, but we were learning from him. He would come in with a Helly Hansen jacket. We were like, yo, what's that? He's like, you don't know Helly Hansen?
Yeah.
You corny, bro. Like, and we'd be like, what? And then we started like looking for those brands and shit. And it was just like, it was just like more natural. It wasn't like TV at all. Yeah. It was crazy. But yeah, I mean, those little things about New York. But I thought that was really cute. Because you were like really annoyed. You're like, what are you talking about? I know the New York shit. He's like, you don't know the New York shit.
No, that's saying you had to be here.
Yeah.
You had to be there. You had to be there. You just had to be there. You missed some shit, period.
So like you're blowing up. I remember seeing you because you were coming to Vegas. I don't know if I ever went to see you DJ, but I'm sure like
no, because you were working also.
Yeah.
Like duh, you were killing.
I actually saw you once at Lavo.
Oh,
that's the first time
and
I met
only
you.
DJ'd at Lava one time.
Oh, so yeah,
That one time you were there. No?
So I
must have
obviously
been there.
wasn't great because I only DJ'd
Crooked, I
there
feel
once.
like he was there.
I must have been there. Yeah, because I was like, well, we gotta go check Kiss.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
okay,
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember. I was always so happy to see you.
I
was
appreciate
just
it,
like,
Crooked. You, I really fucking appreciate you.
No. For real, I was like so proud of you because it was like, I don't know. For me, I think of like, if I had a niece or a daughter or anything, and you showed this early sign of interest, and it's like if you just like kind of like
to see
you
it
build
flourish.
well, it's like you kind of like you take this small little interest, like this little thing of like, I'm not hearing the songs I want to hear, and then it just grows, and you kind of like feed it, you nourish it, and it becomes this craft, and then it becomes this career, and then you're making money off of it, and then I thought it was dope that like what you and MOS had, but I thought it was dope that you were like killing it so hard, and there was so many DJs that hated on you, but I knew like the story behind you, so I was just like, nah, you don't get it, like she's just not like, and I would tell them, I was like, yo, you act like it's just so easy for a black girl to come out and blow the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yo, can you say it a fucking again? Like I'm literally the last person that these people, if I'm here, it's because I am fucking good. Because there are 10 other people that they would rather.
I was like, fam, if she was a white girl who was the daughter of some entertainment lawyer,
it'd be different.
Or some actor,
right? Like I'm like, yo, fam, she was a cocktail waitress at a club, and she was putting me on to 80s R&B, and of course,
and plus, she wasn't from New York.
Yeah.
And I wasn't from New York. I had no connections here or anything. But I get it. Like, fuck, people are coming in taking jobs that you feel like you should have. I totally get that. And it was so competitive back then.
Right.
But yeah, people got to respect that, dog. I came from fucking nothing. I came from nothing. I remember I would be on stage at Studio 54 in Vegas, and it would hit me. I would be like, what the fuck am I doing here?
They let me
I'm
in.
from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Right. Like all of my classmates work at the post office. Like what am I doing on stage in Vegas playing fucking, Calvin Harris for these people?
And there was there was no representation. It wasn't like there was a bunch of black girl DJs everywhere. There was there was none of them.
None.
There was Beverly Bond. There was like, and we would even go back like Jazzy Joyce. We would be like Spinderella, Coco Chanel.
Yeah.
It was very limited.
Mary Mack.
Mary Mack.
Yeah.
No, Mary Mack was, yeah.
Yeah, there was not
now,
many.
Look, there are tons, and that's amazing. Many. But at that time, I was the only one. That's it.
I don't think people. Yeah, and you were crossing over to like white top 40 clubs too, which was shocking everybody.
Damn, I see. This is my first time getting
The perspective.
the perspective of it, because it happened to me, but I didn't know how people feel
Well,
about it.
I feel like you should be more of a household name in the DJ community, especially for like women DJs, because they weren't having black girl DJs in top 40 clubs in Las Vegas like that.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It was
No
a
way.
big deal.
Dude, they still not.
I was just wanted to ask. I'm like, is there any of them? Like, I don't
Right
think-
now.
Yeah.
The girl that does the R&B parties.
Oh, Jasmine Rich.
Yes, her.
I mean, yeah, Jasmine.
That's like the only one. I
Here,
can think of
where is she?
In Vegas.
In
Las
Vegas.
But
Okay,
she's
wonderful.
still on the rise.
Yeah, she's still
coming
on the
up, yeah,
rise.
yeah.
What you've accomplished,
I'll have to
like
look.
she's something. I guarantee she knows who you are.
Oh, okay.
It's someone that she probably.
I don't even know if she knows who she is.
And because like I would say the cycle is like 5 years, so like every 5 years, you have a lot of drop off of people that go to the clubs.
This girl's
and-
like 21, 22.
She's
yeah,
young
she
girl.
wouldn't even know.
She's a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't know. Yeah,
but
She gonna know now.
Yeah.
hopefully.
If she watches this episode.
But
no,
to that
she-
point, though,
Yeah.
to that point, that is why hubby and I are working on the scripted series, because after we've accomplished all this stuff, as you guys know, as a DJ, you have changed people's lives in ways that you don't even know, right? But you don't have anything tangible really to show for it. Maybe a picture from the night, like you don't have anything tangible. So, I really started thinking about legacy. How will I have a legacy after I stop
Right,
DJing?
right.
Was this last 15 years just for shits and giggles? Like I spent 15 years of my life doing this. So that's why we pitched this scripted series about our life, about this story that we're telling right now.
Right.
We pitched this to a production company, this story to a production company over COVID, and we are actively working on this show right now. We just got our final script for the show.
Nice.
We're about to start talking to networks, and it's a story of two up-and-coming DJs in New York City in that time period, which is the golden age for clubs, for music, for DJs. And it's our love story set in the midst of the chaos of New York City nightlife in the early 2000s.
Who's playing cricket?
Yeah,
Exactly.
y'all better
make
write
the
me.
script.
We got to
Y'all-
make sure Crooked's in there.
Y'all better write me in. Y'all
He
better write
declined
me
to
in.
teach you how to DJ. Make sure that's in there.
Y'all better write me in. Better not be like some weirdo looking like who did Stretch like recently there was a show and they had Stretch
That's
Armstrong
show
in
on
there.
VH1, yeah. No, the Wu-Tang,
The Wu-Tang
show, yeah.
Yeah, the Wu-Tang show.
And they casted someone as
Yeah, Stretch and Barbito.
Stretch out.
and
And
were
they
they-
look nothing like.
oh Lord, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, don't make me look like some some weird like
Filipino
overweight
kid.
Yeah, they're gonna
Make
hire
sure he's Korean at least.
what was the Spider-Man movie? That,
Oh, Ned.
yeah, they're gonna hire Ned.
But like for you guys, this podcast is part of your legacy. It's something
You know
that'll
what? Crooked
be
always
here.
talks about that.
No, this is why
About-
I started the podcast, because everyone just knows the DJs, the superstar DJs.
Right.
But they don't know the gold fingers. They
Yes,
don't know
exactly.
about him killing it at Lotus and Envy and us looking up to him. They don't know about
Yep.
like Riz and all these just all these superheroes who shaped
Us.
the culture.
Yeah,
of
and the
everything.
culture.
Yeah. And it's just like even your story, to me, like that's some superhero shit. To me, like I was really like so happy. I remember in Vegas, billboards was a big deal.
I had a billboard.
You had a billboard.
Oh my God, I
You
had
know?
a fucking Vegas billboard. That is so fucking crazy. Like when you're working, you're in it, so you don't really take time to go back and say, "Oh, I did this, I did that." But like, I had a fucking.
And you're
Vegas
so
billboard.
worried about what's next.
You have to worry about what's
Right.
next constantly.
You know what? You're the second person this week that I've been talking to, and they never had a chance to
Reflect.
and process on the journey and really just give themselves a pat on the back to be like, yo, you did and accomplished a lot of shit. And
Yeah.
you accomplished a lot of shit. You know what I mean?
Crooked, I'm literally gonna cry because like you don't think about it.
No.
You're forced to, because we work for ourselves.
Right.
Always constantly think about what's next. But talking to you and remembering PM and where I really fucking came from.
Right.
That's
And all
like
these
serious.
obstacles.
Yeah.
You just didn't realize it because you got through it, and then then you have the next obstacle.
The next thing in
the
the
next one, and then you don't realize like, oh my God, that was a thing.
That was the thing.
That was the thing. You did a lot.
Crooked, thank
And it's
you.
not over yet.
No.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And we haven't even
cuss.
and we're just in the beginning. We're just talking about. So I feel like you I don't know what was going on with the nightclubs, but I feel like you were like kind of over just the drunkenness and the chaos of a nightclub. And was that one of the reasons you wanted to focus more on corporate besides the money? Or
No,
was
it
it
was
just
the money.
corporate?
I loved nightclubs.
You did.
It was just the money. I fucking loved. Now I don't, because I don't like the music. I don't like current music like that. It's just it's a low vibration. It's just not good messages. Not that fuck the police and all that stuff was good messages, but
Right.
there was something behind it. It was like, I'm talking about my
creating
struggle.
awareness.
Yeah, they're creating awareness. They were not pushing a lifestyle, in my opinion, the way that a lot of the music does now. It just pushes negativity on people. But sorry, what was the question?
No, why did you leave nightclubs? Because you were killing it so hard with nightclubs.
It was literally just the money.
Just the corporate.
Like, you know how you just said that you quit. What club was that? You quit a club and then you came back because you wanted more money, or they
so,
offered you more
I
money.
quit PM,
PM.
to go to Ruby Falls for money. Yeah.
I did that as well. They just did not want to pay. You weren't here, but the club rates went down when you left to go to Vegas. The
yeah.
club rates collectively went down
in New York.
in New York City.
Right.
And so
I mean, look at it
we just
now.
weren't making money at all. And so, like, at some point I quit Avenue. Like, I was the resident at Avenue on Fridays for years. And at some point I quit, and they were like, we're not going to pay you more money. And then 3 weeks later, they were like, okay, we'll pay you. You
Right.
know what I mean? So, like, in corporate events, you know, I have to pay my bills still. Like, this is still a business. As much as I love DJing, it's still a business. So I just ended up transferring. What am I trying to say? I ended up starting to do more events because transitioning. Sorry, I had a brain fart. Transitioning to events because there was a lot of glamour. There was built-in press.
Right.
You know. And you just got a lot of money. They wanted to dress you. I'm like, I'm a size 4 at the time. I'm
Right.
like, okay, I fit everything, you know.
Yeah. And you were tall.
And I
you
was tall.
You were like perfect for, like
Fashion
runway.
stuff.
Yeah, fashion shit. Yeah.
Fashion stuff.
Really.
And the clubs, though, but I loved the clubs because I love that energy of
Mm.
fucking killing it. And like people being like, yo, she killed that shit. Like, that's the best. You guys know, like, that's the best
high.
feeling.
Yeah.
There's a point though, like when I was on Scam and you're busy and you're killing it, you're out of town every week, it gets repetitive and the money just stays the same.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, all right, I'm getting a little tired of the rat race. I'm traveling a lot, but the money's not going up and I'm
Yep.
killing it. And it's like, then you get to another cap, almost similar to New York, where you're just kind of like, all right, if I'm not dating a celebrity, right? Or if
How am I going to increase this?
how am I going to double my rate and get this, like, I don't know, like this $10,000 rate that these motherfuckers are getting per night, you know? And you're like, I'm capping at 2,500, 3K, you know? So I totally get what you mean with the club shit. And after doing the rat race of like going to like, fucking Miami to Kansas City to like Oklahoma to like, I don't know, somewhere else.
Scam had me DJ in Idaho one time. Like, I'm like, Sujit, are you like it was a barn, Sujit. It was a barn. No.
I was there.
Yes, you know what I'm
Yes.
talking.
I was
It was
like-
on the rotation.
They had like hay. They had like bales
there
of
was-
hay there.
Oh, she was serious. I thought she
Bales
was
of
being
hay.
metaphorical.
No, there were bales of hay, and I was like, I don't feel that comfortable here, but I'm going to play an all rock set.
Yeah.
And be like, no, I'm.
I remember DJing there, and I was just like, it was a barn, and there was hay, and there was like a stage, and motherfuckers were dancing on hay.
That's wild.
Like it was
That is
college
wild.
kids like wilding the fuck out. But I was just like, because I remember there was like sawdust on the fucking
Yes.
floor and shit, and I was DJing on the shit, and I was just like, where the fuck am I DJing? But for you, that must have been like a complete contrast to like these events,
Yeah, exactly.
right? I get it.
Exactly. So if you have your choice, if anybody has their choice, they're going to make more money. So that's literally all it was.
Is this, and did you stay with Scam when you wanted to focus on corporate, or did you feel like Scam represented more of a nightlife thing? So you're like, I need to change management? Because I know you left Scam, right?
Right.
Was that one of the reasons? Oh,
No, and I left on great terms with Sujit.
Right.
And he understood, but I was like, the reason they brought me on is to be Sky Neller's junior, to take all the jobs that Sky Neller didn't want.
like the leftovers.
The
right,
leftovers.
right.
That's why I was brought on. But I wasn't really allowed to grow into my own. They always wanted me, they needed a girl there to take these jobs that she was not going to take, that the money just wasn't enough for her.
Right.
So at that point, I had started to build my own brand and my own career, but I was always going to be second fiddle
To Sky.
you know, and I don't even mean from an ego perspective. I'm talking just dollars, you know, because if there is a high-end job that was in Sky's budget, of course, they would pitch Sky for it first, which, yeah, for sure do that. But it just wasn't fair to me after a while. So I just left and I didn't have a manager at all for a while. But I did not want to keep getting pigeonholed into this certain fee when I knew that I could do better than that.
Right.
And I came and I said to Sujit that exact thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no beef with anyone. I understand the reason that I was even brought here. But I've grown. Like in the 2 years, like now I'm a bigger DJ and I don't want to still be here like that.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Because it becomes this thing of like, yo, I want, you know, I don't know. I want Neva. And we're like, well, Neva's 5K, right? And then like, well, we have, you know,
2K.
do you have who's like Neva? Well, we got D, and it's like, well, how much is D? And there's not even a negotiation. It's just like 1,500.
Right.
Boom. Oh yeah, we'll take D.
They're not trying to get you the
No.
most money because
Yeah.
you're there to play a role.
But it's also like 1,500. It's easy. I don't have to negotiate. I don't have to send multiple emails. I don't have to like
Invoice.
I don't have to. Well, I don't have to like drag this negotiation for 2 weeks. I got the booking. You get your 1,500. Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
You know. And if you don't want it, then I'll just find someone
I
else.
have a
That's
roster.
Whoever's the next D Miles. Like,
Yeah.
well, we got Jamie now. Jamie
Right,
wants
right.
750. So then the management or the agency starts looking at you like 5K, 1,500, 750.
And it will
you
never
get-
change.
It stay like
It will
that.
never change.
And then you'll get stuck
That's
that
why
way.
I left. It will never change.
Unless somehow magically, like at that time, you blow the fuck up by linking up with a celebrity or
Yes.
just something happens. Or otherwise you get pigeonholed into
And that's what happened.
Right. I get it. That makes sense.
And even Sujit, to his credit, when I explained it to him, he totally got it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
because it was just business. It wasn't anything personal. Again, I adore Sujit. He's
Mm-hmm.
so funny to me. He's just hilarious. But I wanted to grow as a DJ and I wanted to grow in my career.
So then, when did you start doing like shit for like? When did the whole Obama and like Oprah and like
Pharrell.
you went on tour with Prince,
No,
I went on tour with Oprah. I went on tour with Pharrell.
Pharrell, and Prince? Right? You was like Prince's favorite DJ or something. He would hit
Not
you
his
up.
favorite DJ. Which is okay.
I heard you were the
Sounded a
one.
little too hard.
Yeah, Prince would hit you up and be like, "Yo, I'm here. Like, can you DJ?" Or like, what was going on with that?
All right, so I started DJing for Prince because a good friend of mine, Damaris Lewis, she is a model and an actress and a dancer. Prince saw her dance one day and like asked her to go on tour with him, and she became his muse. But she's a good friend of mine. And so, you know, Dee comes to all of our parties. She came to Baby I'm a Star, so she knew like how much I DJ. So she just told him, she said, look, you need to hire my girl. So he gave me a shot. I literally DJ'd a date for him. Like the first time I DJ'd for him, it was him and a date.
So you doing like a private events for Prince?
This is not, I don't
No,
even call it a
you-
private event. It
You
was a
just
date.
didn't catch on. It was Prince and a girl, and she was just DJing for them
Prince
too.
was,
Butter.
Prince was on a date.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like a private event.
That ain't a private
That's not
event.
an
That's a
event.
date.
That's a
They
date.
talking about a date, man.
That's extremely intimate.
I got there. I thought it was going to be a party. I get there. There's no one here. Prince comes in and he's with a date. And I DJ'd the date for him.
Did he float in?
He 100% floated in.
Oh my god, that would be even more nerve wracking.
Did he like? Was it
It's
specific?
because, yes, absolutely. And it's Prince. My God. Like, and you can't play any Prince.
Like you're responsible.
Oh, man.
No, you
Fuck.
cannot play any Prince.
Not only
for
that,
Prince. He doesn't want you to play any
You're
Prince.
responsible to read Prince's mind to create a sexy mood
While
for
he's
him
with
and
a
his
date.
girl. That's like
Yes.
impossible.
But she did it.
But you did it.
All I got is sexy. I just give you what I got. You know what I'm saying? Like,
How long was your set for this?
it was long. It was a marathon set. It was like 3 to 4 hours.
Wow.
Just me in a booth, no one else, Prince and his date in a, across the room basically,
Having dinner.
having dinner.
Did he give you any kind of like
Yeah.
suggestions musically?
No, they just said, before I got there, they said, but I've been studying Prince my whole life.
Yeah.
Like, Prince
Yeah.
is my
Yeah.
You
favorite.
love Prince.
I love Prince.
I remember that about PM. You love Prince.
Love Prince.
Yeah.
So I just played like my vibe, which is kind of, you know, a Prince vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he loved it. And then he started hiring me for, you know, intimate events, big events. I did his, you know, his SNL party. I DJ'd for him. I DJ'd his very last album release at Paisley Park for the album Hit and Run.
Oh shit.
Wow.
I DJ'd for his after party for his last Paris show at La Zenith. Like, you know, it just be it.
You know what? I like the story you told on Damon podcast about when you was in Paris and you was just hanging out.
Is the craziest story. All right, so I was hired by Urban Decay to do their annual presentation to their parent company, which is L'Oreal. So, you know, and it's part presentation, but it's a lot of meetings all day long because they're showing me their vision. We're going back and forth with music. So they fly me in a few days early. We have meetings all day. I'm there for 3 days. We have meetings all day the first day, meetings all day the second day. I get a call from my girlfriend, Damaris, on the second day, and she's like, oh, we're in town. We're in Paris. I didn't know you were here. I'm here with Prince. And I said, oh, that's amazing. That's so cool, whatever. She's like, you should come to the concert. And I'm like, well, I've been at work. I've been in meetings all day. It's like 5 o'clock. The presentation is at 8 a.m. The next day. The makeup artist is meeting me in my room to do my makeup for the presentation on stage in front of L'Oreal, the whole company, at 6 a.m. So I'm like, well, it's not the most responsible thing, but I'll just come to the concert. So I get to the concert. I look a mess. Like I didn't even judge myself or anything. I'm like, I just can't stay. I'm just going to come and whatever.
Yeah.
So I get there. I don't have tickets to the show. I'm actually sitting on stage.
Oh shit!
My seat is on stage with like Prince is performing. There's a couch with me and 3 other girls.
That's fucking sick.
I look a mess though, by the way. That's the most important part of the story is I looked a mess. So I get there, I'm like, oh, and you can't leave early. Now I'm on stage, like I can't even leave early. So now I'm like, all right, so I'm here until 10. But it was incredible. Like we're in Paris, and guess who was sitting next to me? By the way, this is trivia. Snow Allegra.
No way.
Was one of the girls. Snow Allegra and her manager were on stage with me, and then I think there was another girl with us.
Wow.
That's crazy.
But she wasn't big at the time. She was like a up and coming artist. You know, at the end of once we met, like she gave me all of her information. I used some of her songs in one of my mixes or something. Anyway, she was lovely. So I'm like, all right, so I'm here. It's like 10 o'clock. So I'm like, okay, I really got to go now because I have this presentation at 8 o'clock in the morning. Damaris is also, once again, she's like, girl, there's an after party.
He's making pancakes. You got to come.
First of all, who turns down a Prince after party? I should not have gone. But I was like, all right, well, I was like, okay, I'll just go for an hour. It wasn't that far. It was at a club called Silencio. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just stop by. But I'm like, I'm not going to go like this. I look a mess. So I go home, get dressed, get cute. I'm like, all right, I'll just go over to Silencio for a hot second, say hey, whatever. I get to Silencio, hanging out with Damaris. Prince walks in the club. There's a DJ playing, by the way. Prince walks in. He like surveils the area, you know, does what he does. And he makes a beeline over to me and Damaris. And he goes, do you have your laptop with you? And I was like, no, it's at my hotel. And he was like, I want you to spend tonight.
Well.
Damn. Like, I need you to spend tonight.
You can't tell Prince no.
It's 11 p.m. I have a presentation at 8 a.m. The reason I'm here at all is because Urban Decay hired me for this presentation on stage at 8 a.m.
And a Prince party goes late, right? It goes late.
You haven't even heard the story. So I kind of am like, oh, but you have a DJ already. He's like, yeah, if you don't mind, could you get your laptop? So
she kind of said no to Prince on the low.
Well, no, but I would never, but I was not there on my own. Like I was there so he goes, well, just come play a set. So he sends his bodyguard with me to go get this laptop because I would not have come back. I would have been like, I fell asleep.
Right.
He sends a bodyguard with me to go get the laptop to come back and DJ for them for this party, this after party. So I ended up DJing until 5 a.m. in the morning.
Oh my Lord. You got the makeup artist coming at 6.
Yeah.
Makeup artist is coming at 6. I love that you remember the details. I'm DJing until the sun, at a club called Silencio, by the way. So I'm DJing until the sun comes up. I have to rush from the club The makeup artist is already at my hotel when I get there waiting on me. I look like fucking 3-day-old hell, whatever. So she does. So I'm on stage at Urban Decay, like in front of an audience, an auditorium of people about to fall asleep. Like I just didn't have anything in me left to even stay awake.
Right.
But it was amazing. The party was amazing. It was just like one of the most memorable nights of my life. But it just turned from just, I'll just pop by a concert to sitting on stage at a Prince concert to DJing the after party. So it was kind of
It's a hell of a story.
Did you send an invoice?
You know what? Prince was so generous.
Really?
Never had to hunt him down for money. Like he was so generous, paid on time, paid over.
Crazy. So he would have already sent you money just for you DJing. You didn't have
He
to.
sent me money for doing a mix. Like when I did that, when I DJ'd that date for him, his people called and requested that I make a mix with the songs that I had just played at the date.
Oh, wow.
And they started playing that mix before. If they did like a lounge or something, they would play that mix. They would have that mix playing while people like filed in.
Oh, wow.
And he just offered to pay for it. I didn't ask, I would have done it for free, but they just,
Do you still have the mitts?
I do.
Wow. Yo, so Prince really was he just loved your taste in music, which is
He used a lot of DJs. No, be
Right.
very clear. Prince used a variety of DJs, but I was fortunate to play for him many times, and he requested me.
And you probably got him laid, right? So he was just like, we got to bring Kiss back.
Bring Kiss.
Definitely.
You guys, can you imagine how surprised I was when I walked in that room and it's just him and a date?
Jesus, man. I
Him
can't
What
and
was
a
going
date.
through your mind? Like, oh, he got up, he's dancing now. Okay, let's keep this
No, there
going.
was no dance. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't a thing. They were sitting together, like, talking and eating and stuff. They didn't get up. He came to the booth one time. Should I tell this? Okay. He came to the booth one time during that set because you can't play any Prince, but I would play Prince adjacent things. So I played this song called, I want to say Blue Limousine by Vanity 6. So I played it. I was just being slick because I was playing Prince adjacent stuff.
Right.
So next thing I know, he opens the curtain. Do you remember the booth at Butter?
Yeah.
And there's a curtain here. There's the booth, and then there's a curtain right here that you gotta.
Right.
So next thing I know, the curtain opens, and
He just glides over. He just glides over.
He goes, Jesse stole my song. Yo, Jesse Johnson, who used to be with The Time, stole his like bass line and made that track or something like that. It was something to the effect that, like he noticed, like you couldn't.
So wait, he just opened the curtain,
was
said
he- what he
Jesse stole
said?
my song, and then closed the curtain and went back to his date?
Yeah,
Did he say it jokingly or was he mad when he said it?
No, it was jokingly, but in that Prince way.
Yeah.
So it's joking, but it's like, I see you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was so funny because he heard every fucking song. For him to get up, I played Blue Limousine. For him to get up and comment on that song.
Jesse so much.
Jesse Stomach.
That's like the most Prince thing I've ever heard. Like, just open the curtain, say what he got to say.
Yo, like what?
Oh my
my
God.
That's
amazing.
amazing. Before I know you got to go. Before you go, I want to talk about the Oprah thing because I think that's amazing.
Sure.
Like we hear about D Nice is
Killing it.
killing it
Killing
right
it.
now. He's been killing it. He's amazing. But I feel like you and there's a bunch of other DJs have been doing these events and have been kind of under the radar with these celebrities and these superstars and have been like servicing and like DJing and providing the soundtrack for a lot of Black Hollywood that a lot of motherfuckers don't know.
Yeah.
That they don't even know before D Nice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I want to kind of talk about this like Oprah and kind of like this world that you entered. Especially, I don't even know if maybe it happened before you moved to LA, but I kind of want to hear a little bit more about it.
Okay.
Before you go. Yeah.
Okay. So my celebrity DJ career started with Puff at Gold Bar. Me being a type of person that always is kind of seeing like what could potentially happen for me. I said, one of these damn days, Puff or Jay-Z or Busta or somebody's going to walk in this club. And I made a crate of all samples of their songs just so I would have it. I wouldn't be scrambling for it. I just made a bunch of Bad Boy samples. I put all of that shit into a club. And I was like, one of these days, instead of, you know, dropping Benjamins when he comes in. I'm going to drop a sample. That's it. I'm not going to say shit. I ain't going to shout him out. I'm just going to drop a sample.
Right.
So Gold Bar one night, I'm there playing, minding my business. Who walks in? Jay-Z and Puff together. So I just start playing all my Bad Boy samples. I didn't even acknowledge him at all. I just started playing all my Bad Boy samples. Next thing I know, Puff, you remember the booth at Gold Bar where you had to open the door and like it was a couch and stuff. Maybe you weren't here for Gold Bar.
I don't know. I wasn't.
Gold Bar's DJ booth was actually a small room that had a couch in it. So like your guests and stuff, there was often a party also in the DJ booth.
Okay, I've heard about that. Yeah. Okay.
So next thing I know, Puff opens the door and he walks up to me and is like, I want you to DJ my birthday party next weekend.
Wow.
In Miami. Just like that. That's how it happened. No more, no less. That's how it happened. I just play this, you know, the samples.
Just
and
ready.
Lucky
and ready.
Lucky
right?
and ready. Lucky and ready. But also the foresight to say, like, this is what I want to do if this ever happens to me. And it just happened to happen. So weird. So he walks into the booth. He's like, I want you to DJ my birthday party next week. I'm like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. But also I'm like, they're never going to call me. I'm like, they're not going to call me. They definitely call me. Jessica Rosenblum called like the next couple days. Wow. She was like, hey, Puff is requesting you. And that was like a big birthday of his. I forget which one it was, but he chartered a plane and everybody rode down to Miami together. Everybody flew back to New York together. It was incredible. And that was my very first celebrity party, but it was one of his big birthdays. I forget because Jay was there. Mary J. Blige was there. It was just like one of his big ones, like he throws now. You know?
Yeah. Crazy.
So then he started using me all the time. So, and once Puff uses you, and especially back in fucking 2007, 8, whatever, you know, that's the green light. Other celebrities are like, oh, that's the hot shit.
Wow.
It's funny. The first time I heard you DJ was at Puff's 50th birthday. And I was like, it was MOS, and then he let you go up. I'm sure you probably had to go to the restroom or something.
Oh,
so it was MOS.
I'm like, I didn't DJ that party.
Yeah, you were there for like 10 minutes. You did like a quick set.
Oh.
And then he was because I went up to him and he was recording you. I'm like, dude, you're so proud. He's like, I got to get my baby on footage. I was like, oh. But I heard you do that set. It was like, you know, MOS did the classics in the beginning. But I was like, oh shit, she's nice with it. Like she's mean with it. Like, and then I told Kirk, he's like, oh yeah, funny story. I'll tell you later. I'm like, oh okay. But yeah.
I always bring out my Jakissa PM bag whenever I can.
That your cake goes on.
So then you were just kind of like in the circles, and then everyone was like, oh, Kiss is we need Kiss.
Well, you know, they just want good music, and they want, you know, celebrities want someone that they can trust. They, you know, someone that knows how to act in those type of settings. So so that happened, and then for Pharrell was looking for a DJ. My friend Bevy Smith, do you guys know Bevy?
No.
I've heard the name.
New York icon. She is an author. She is a girl about town. She's a TV host. Look her up. She's amazing. Good friend of mine. She is friends with Pharrell and was like, hit me up and said, hey, Pharrell's looking for a DJ. So I went in and auditioned for him. I went to a studio in Soho and auditioned for him and got the job, and then just started touring with him. I was Pharrell's DJ for about a year while he was on the Steve Aoki tour. It was Aokify America. Do you guys remember that? Remember Steve Aoki was doing this big tour and he would go out and throw the cake at
Yes.
people?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So one of his guests was Pharrell. Pharrell was one of the performers that would be on certain dates with him. So I did that. I went to like Hong Kong with Pharrell. We did a bunch of other like private events. And
Were you putting together Pharrell's like set list, like what he's gonna perform, or he kind of worked that with you?
No, they would tell me what he wanted to do, or we would do it at rehearsal.
Shit. Let me hear about Oprah real quick. About the Oprah. You went on tour with her?
Oprah, I got...
How did you link up with Oprah?
Well, again, I was in the right place at the right time because it really wasn't my doing at all. I work for Beats by Dre a lot. Especially when I moved here, I did a lot of their jobs. Beats by Dre actually sponsored Oprah Winfrey's tour. So
really?
Oprah Winfrey... Yeah.
Is that through Karen Civil?
Not not through Karen. But they didn't sponsor the tour. They sponsored the DJ for the tour.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So because I had been Beats by Dre's go-to kind of DJ, I was top of mind when Oprah needed a DJ for her tour. So I met with Oprah. I mean, I did get this stuff on my own, but it was very much with the help of other people. So I wouldn't even sit here and be like, oh, I did it on my own.
No.
But So Oprah did a tour called the Life You Want Tour, and it was with her. It was a 2-day event. It was with her, Iyanla Van Zant, Deepak Chopra, and Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. And they would all speak to the crowd for like an hour, hour and a half. And just, it was a wellness kind of thing, a wellness meditation thing. So I was tasked with playing uplifting, fun, but party music to get the auditorium in the right vibe, in the right frame to receive what was about to happen. So, it was a very curated list where it wasn't, it wasn't like NWA type of stuff. It was like very like, but at the same time, they didn't want it to be generic. They wanted it to be something feel good, something to stick to your bones, something, because the music is so much a part of like wellness and, just healing yourself and stuff. So I did, I met with Oprah. She liked me. And so I did this tour with her, and it was probably 4 or 5 months. We went to 8 cities. We did 8 stadiums, sold out. And she was so gracious and lovely to me when she didn't even have to be. Like, who am I? I'm the DJ, But she and I did a little banter on stage when she would walk out. And then after the tour, I remember I really wanted a picture with her. And so I had spoken to her people. I'm like, because when you do that Oprah tour, like people pay a lot of money. And there's a line of people that have paid whatever, however much money.
For one picture.
To get the picture. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a part of the thing. So, her assistant or her people kind of finagled me in there. But when Oprah saw me, she was like, kiss. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even know she knew my name. Like, but she's like, kiss. And she was like, you did such a great job. And she's like, wait, where is Jimmy? Jimmy Iovine, meanwhile. She's like, where's Jimmy? So Jimmy had just left with his wife. She had her assistant go out into the hall, grab Jimmy, bring Jimmy back to take a picture with me and to introduce me properly to Jimmy Iovine.
Damn.
She was like, I just want you to know that she has been a great ambassador for your company. Oprah didn't have to do that for me. She didn't have to do that for me.
Amazing.
She did not have to do that for me. It was so lovely of her to do that. And
you get a cosign. You get a cosign. You get a cosign. That's amazing.
She was so lovely to me. She did that. And then from there, Jimmy started hiring me. So it really is just, it's just been I've just been super fortunate in my career.
Your musical knowledge, your sensitivity, right? To know what to play for rooms and, just everything, even the preparation you put for all these crates, it all led up to all these things.
Yeah.
Yo, there's so much we want. Can we do a part 2?
I would love that. Yeah. We got to do a part 2. A current version.
Yeah, current version. 'Cause we went back,
It was necessary.
Yeah. It was good. It was so good to see you and then just talk about it and reminisce about those times.
Because we need to talk about you.
No, we need to talk about you.
We need to talk about you. Okay.
We need to talk about you because you've been doing so much. You and MOS, the Oscars. We didn't even touch on the Oscars
Red carpet
and
stuff.
everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys. I'm so
Gotta
happy.
have part 2.
I'm so happy for you guys, and you got to let me know when you and MOS's show launch. And
I will.
everything.
100%. 100%.
DJ Kiss.
Yes.
Kiss the Taylor.
Thank you guys.
If you want to watch more episodes from R.O.A.D Podcast, click either links on the left or the right. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page and get updated on new uploads throughout the week. Peace.